Well, critics continue to say he's inflating our nation's immigration problems. That is the question. Here to weigh in is Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent and the host of the Dan Bongino Show. So, Dan, critics saying this is overinflated. It's a hyped problem. What do you say?
That's total nonsense. You know what's not inflated? The gang problem resulting from gang members, some who are very violent. Again, not all people who come here obviously are criminals, but some are. And the ones who do come here who become members of gangs are extremely violent. You know, Pete, Ed, Abby, just ask some of the people in Long Island, New York, some of the people in California, how these gangs have just destroyed some of their communities. Another thing, this drug problem, the poisons being shipped across this border, that's a very real problem. That's not an inflated problem. You know what? I'll throw another one at you. You know, the cost to American taxpayers out there who have to finance this nonsense and social programs being abused by people who came to this country illegally. Those are real problems. That's
Dan,
not inflated.
Why do it now, though? I mean, this is something the president campaigned on. He's been very forceful when it comes to immigration and laws that he wants to change in this country. Why now? Why not months ago?
You know, I think he's been dealing with an unprecedented amount of Democrat obstruction on the Hill. And you know, I get it. I know we have liberals that watch the network, and they'll say, oh, that's just an excuse. No, it's not. There is really an unprecedented level of obstruction. Abby, whether it's appointments at the bureaucratic level for the president's selections for positions in the law enforcement community, whether it's him trying to get his wall built, which is what he ran on. It was his signature issue. The Democrats have firmly and resolutely stood in his way and said, you know what, we're not going to do it because it sells well amongst our radical liberal base, standing in your face and saying no.
Dan, hang on a second. You say it's all Democratic obstructionism, but a couple months ago, Chuck Schumer put the funding for the border wall right there on the table with the president in the budget negotiations, and the president walked away. So the Democrats were not blocking it then. They put it on the table.
Yeah, but I could turn that around on you, Ed, and say the same thing. Fair enough question. But what about when President Trump offered DACA to an unprecedented number of people, basically more DACA recipients than even Obama did?
So Democrats should have taken that deal. But why didn't the president take the border wall? You want it so badly. Why didn't he take it?
Because there were too many trade-offs that would have involved basically incentivizing a flow of future illegal immigrants into the country in the future that would have, you know, basically incentivized not stop the problem and incentivize people to come here in the future.
But I thought the wall was going to stop the problem.
But not to mention the fact, but Barack Obama had both houses of both the House and the Senate
so it's
for
Obama's
years
fault?
And could have pursued this if DACA was really a priority.
But the original, one of the original bills that would have stopped chain migration was definitely a good idea. Chain migration is a big portion of the problem. But I think the president gave them a more than fair deal with his DACA proposal for 1.8 million people, which was, I didn't agree with even, by the way. And the Democrats said no. So, again, you could turn it around on them.
All right, Dan, where does this go? Because you have National Guard now. Some are at the border. The president's asking for up to 4,000. What is the end game here?
Well, Abby, first there's got to be a recognition of the problem. You know, there's a lot of gaslighting going on by the left here. You know, this constant telling of a lie, telling it forcefully and repeatedly and isolating people from the truth. And the big lie is that illegal immigration should only be discussed in terms of the effect on the lawbreaker. You broke the law. Everybody worries about, oh, what's going to happen to the illegal. First is a recognition of the problem, that this is a real cost to the American taxpayer. And it, by the way, it hurts people who come here legally the right way.
All right. Dan, we appreciate your insights. Always have a great weekend.
Always your energy. Dan, good to see you this morning. All right, coming up on the show, America's top doctor issuing the first national advisory in more than a decade. He's urging Americans to carry an opioid overdose antidote. That's a tongue twister.
Try to say that.
Dr. Jerome